Welcome to Cinema in Context as we discuss all things film and the connections between. My name's Jeremy Downing.
I'm William Chen.
I'm Sarah Watt.
I'm Max Tarrant.
And today we are discussing two films with the same name, Ghostbusters.
Okay, so Ghostbusters '84. I think this was part of the big slate of sci-fi comedies or genre comedies like Back to the Future. A lot of the stuff that came out in the mid to late '80s, where you have these cool concepts. Concepts which I think would be a little far out nowadays, but people were getting really risky, and Ghostbusters was one of the big ones. Oh my gosh! Written by Dan Aykroyd and Harold Ramis, directed by Ivan Reitman, about four almost blue-collar-esque rubbish cleaners, except in New York, they're hunting ghosts.
Excellent. And Sarah, do you want to give us a bit of a lowdown on Ghostbusters 2016?
Ghostbusters 2016, something of a reboot, situated, I would say, nowadays, contemporary movie, contemporary update, where instead of our four blue-collar garbage collectors, we have four young women of New York City. We have Kristen Wiig playing the the physicist who has disavowed her youthful belief in ghosts. She is seeking tenure at Columbia University, and then she finds herself thrown back together with an old school pal, Abby, played by the wonderful Melissa McCarthy, who is a certified ghost hunter. Melissa McCarthy's character working with Kate McKinnon's character, Holtzman, and then they're joined, as the movie progresses, by Leslie Jones, playing the only blue-collar worker in this Ghostbusters iteration. She's what do they call it? Not the tube, not the underground.
MTR.
The metro, the subway. She's a subway employee who sees a ghost and then takes her information to the team, who are not yet coined Ghostbusters, because I think they prefer to be called something much more highfalutin. And so the games ensue.
Excellent. And we are sitting here in Max's home this week. We were just joking before, because it seems to be the weather is always awful when we record our Cinema in Context podcasts, but the weather's actually not too bad right now. We just had hail and we had lightning and thunder this morning, and now we've got some sun shining, so it's quite nice.
Lovely to have you guys around, by the way.
Thank
Pleasure.
you for your
Max.
ginger loaf and cups of tea and good company. All right, Ghostbusters. What I'll say is that I actually watched the new one before rewatching the old one. I think I saw the old one, I don't know how old I was. It was years ago. Like, I didn't even really remember the old film. I remember the ending with the Stay Puft
Marshmallow Man,
manifestation, I think they call it. But that's all I really remembered. Slimer, the opening in the library, but didn't really remember much. So I went into the new film with quite a blank slate, I would say. And so, yeah, I don't know. I can talk about that, but my experience with the old one was very much in reference to the new one, because I watched it afterwards. And I actually went back and rewatched the new one after seeing the old one.
So, considering that your memory of it isn't super tinged with that kind of nostalgia that a lot of people have, I just wonder, are you guys of that state that you have the nostalgia for it that a lot of people do?
That's such a good point, Max, and I think it probably is, given that we're going to get contentious, because this film, the new film, has proven to be so contentious. I suppose we should sort of put our cards on the table in terms of how connected we feel to the original, right? And I think it's safe to say I'm the only one around the table who was actually there in the cinema when Ghostbusters came out in 1984.
Yeah, because
I don't think we need to hammer that home, right. Jeremy. Yeah, all right, I was alive. And I saw it in the movies, and I remember it being seminal for me purely because I was of an age where Ghostbusters and Gremlins, I think, must have come out around the same time. And I was absolutely scared stiff. Yeah. And even though Ghostbusters, I don't think, looking back, and I certainly don't think subsequently in the light of far more formative horrors for me, like Nightmare on Elm Street, but Ghostbusters was truly scary for me as a small child. That said, I don't think it's a superb film, and I couldn't have cared less whether they remade it, let alone how they remade it. So I do not come to this, and didn't come to the new one with any feelings of wariness or expectation in that regard.
So for me, Ghostbusters, it does not hold a big place for nostalgia. Unlike movies like Indiana Jones or E.T. or Back to the Future, which is, I mean, we've talked about this, Jeremy, one of my favorite movies of all time. Ghostbusters, I think when I was growing up in the 90s, a lot of my friends loved Ghostbusters. But they were also the people who were really into Superman and Aliens and Predator and all the movies, genre movies around that period. Whereas I was more into Disney movies and other things. So I never really got into that zeitgeist. But then the first time I watched Ghostbusters 1 was probably in 2012.
Oh gosh, so you were a grown-up.
Yes, I was in the States. It was on Netflix. And I thought, well, this is a classic. Gotta watch it. And I really enjoyed it. And I still do after rewatching it again. It is a very weird movie. There's a lot of things in there I don't think would fly in a movie today. Character motivations and creepy things. I don't know.
I want to respond to that, but I want to hear from Max first. So Max, what's your kind of take on Ghostbusters 1984?
Yeah, well, this is interesting. I'm the only one on the table that's actually got the nostalgia for it. Growing up, I was I think we're almost opposites there, William, in the sense that some of those real major blockbusters of that era that were being watched by a lot of people, E.T., Indiana Jones, were much more peripheral compared to this film. For some reason, I don't know why. Maybe my parents liked it, but this is quite big in my memory.
Cool.
So it's lovely to return to it, and I'm the same. It's more enjoyable to go back to the old film and get the nostalgia for that, and I think it holds up in a lot of the ways that I was hoping it would, than to go on and have nostalgia through the newer one.
So my experience was, home in the holidays. For those of you that don't know, we're all teachers, so we just have come off a nice break in the holidays with my family. And I thought I want to rewatch the old one for this, but also just to rewatch it as well. And my sister was home, she's 15 years old, and my brother was home as well, he's 17 years old. So I said, let's watch Ghostbusters. I'm like, okay, I didn't really not have any point of reference apart from this new film that's come out. And we were watching it, and the first thing that we all thought was how terrible Bill Murray's character is. And that he is bordering on sexual harassment all over the show.
Throughout the entire movie.
It's just, and my sister, she goes, what a creep, was the kind of comment she made. I totally agree with her. And he's just, any woman that walks into the frame, he's just all over them in the most inappropriate way. And then you have that relationship with him and Sigourney Weaver, who she's actually really, her character starts off quite interesting in the film. She's got a lot going for her. And she's not into it. She's kind of like, all right, okay, sweet, just calm down. I'm employing you to help me with this issue that I've got of a ghost in my home, and all you can care about is taking me out on a date. And then by the end of the film, apart from the fact that she's been possessed, she's all of a sudden into him. I was just like, what the heck?
It's quite 80s, I hate to tell you. You got away with a lot of that shit in the 80s.
Yeah.
And it's really disturbing.
That scene where it reveals that he has narcotics. Oh no, sorry, it was tranquilizers just on his person. That was creepy, very very creepy.
I missed that
when she was possessed, and he was going to drug her.
Yes, right.
Wow.
That whole scene is very strange as well. He knows that she's possessed, but he's still kind of into her.
Oh no, I actually really enjoyed that scene. Like I think it shows that he's professional enough to kind of say, okay, let's treat this seriously. That awesome line where he's like, oh, she says, I want you inside of me, which is, for family comedy.
Yes.
That whole sequence, right? And that totally. She's all over him, literally.
It sounds like there are already at least two people inside of you. It might get crowded or something like that.
Which is amazing.
Yeah.
And you mentioned earlier when we were planning this podcast, there's that scene where Dan Aykroyd has like a dream of a ghost going down on him. And it's really strange. And it's kind of it's like part of a montage.
Yeah.
And that's just part of the success that they're having, that he has this weird sex dream with a ghost.
I think that was actually a deleted sequence that they pasted into the montage.
Right.
And there was a big subplot with the whole, I guess, for lack of a better term, ghost blowjob.
See, I don't remember being scandalised. As a child, I don't remember being scandalised by Ghostbusters, but I think I probably did find it a little bit titillating, the male-female interactions and the attempts at relationship.
And isn't the second one builds on that quite a bit, doesn't it? Because there's
Do they have a child?
Naked woman with bubble bath. I can't even remember what happens in the film, but there's a naked woman with bubble bath, maybe major size, running around the city, isn't it?
Yeah.
So again, there's the 80s.
And then the whole, I mean, the major plot with the gatekeeper and the keymaster, and how they, the whole point was to get them together to have sex, to open the gate, which is, again, real out there, and I don't quite know how they came up with that stuff.
I found my thing with this film was I was like, how did they make this? Like, there's some really cool things going on with the old Ghostbusters film, but there's a lot of weird stuff, like you're saying. And then I feel we were watching it, and we paused it a few times because there were kind of people visiting and stuff. And I didn't really feel like there was a real drive to the film. There was just weird events happening. And the main climax of the film is all of these ghosts being released, and that happens because a government official comes around and turns off the prison machine and lets them all loose. Like, it's not really cause and effect. These things just sort of happen, and then there's this big thing, and then this weird storyline of Sigourney Weaver being possessed and Rick Moranis being possessed, and then they kind of open this portal, and it's a weird structure.
And the climax, because of that, maybe it's because of that, is I found the climax quite disappointing. Like, I like the build-up. I actually like that build-up, just slowly going, really enjoyed that, and there's different things going on. But then when it does finally come to the climax, there's nothing to pay off, really. It's just like, and then they beat them.
There's that 80s sort of Bowie-esque, or, that sort of pop star look.
Ziggy Stardust.
What is she?
Gozer.
Gozer.
Yeah.
Very strange. Very dated.
I think I remember at the time feeling there was I didn't understand it thus at the time because I was little, but I think there was quite a serious tonal shift in the original Ghostbusters, and we'd never seen anything like it, and we'd never seen, and I say that every time we do a podcast, but we'd never seen anything like it, and the special effects were amazing, and those ghosts, some of them were like silly, and some were genuinely scary. And it did seem quite episodic, didn't it? We're chasing this ghost, and then there's this one, and that's how we have all those iconic Ghostbuster images from the first film, and then it all goes really peculiar and possessed and dark and weird, and those gargoyles and stuff happens,
the
and it goes
dogs,
and it goes all kind of really dark and kind of crazy, and I think even as a child, I didn't articulate it at the time, but I think even as a child I thought, something's a bit funny there. This film it doesn't feel the same at the end as it did going through the film.
Nice.
But the same cannot be said for the remake, and I'm not sure how you want to structure this in terms of comparing, but I mean, look, honestly, with these films, this podcast is built around comparison, really, isn't it? Because the latter film doesn't try very hard to distinguish itself from the original. I think there are so many
beat for beat
nods to the original and in-jokes and all that sort of thing. And I think, I'm probably leaping ahead to what we want to talk about later, but I've been thinking about the fact that for all the criticism that the new Ghostbusters was getting, the minute that the internet knew that there was going to be a new Ghostbusters, I think it was actually really respectful and really trying to honour the original.
The film?
I
not the feedback.
No, sorry. Not the feedback.
I thought they were very honourable.
Not at all. No, I mean... Paul, Feig, Feig, and these four wonderful women. I just don't see where all the hassle is coming from. And I guess I'm not going to be that enlightened by you chaps, because A, you're not like those internet men, and B, you're not coming at it from that same sort of, this is my childhood movie and how dare you feminize it and ruin it. I just don't get it at all.
I think that's a really interesting point, like the lack of understanding between probably most people in the world, I don't know, maybe most people in the world, and people that are like becoming radicalized in everyday society, it seems like, particularly in America. Like, these are the kind of people that are going to be probably voting in Trump. These are the kind of people that are like
afraid of globalization.
These are the kind of people that are part of the problem in terms of race in America at the moment. Like that a person could shoot a black guy in the street, just being like, he's black, and just like something you just cannot understand. It's like, how are you so pissed off that this is a group of 4 women taking this role? Like, it's really hard to understand.
Well, I've watched so many interviews, read as many articles about this as I can, because it's just been so baffling to me. It's like Melissa McCarthy said, it's like we announced we were making the film with otters, you know, like we were not even humans, we're going to be playing those roles.
That'd be adorable.
Yeah. But I mean, it's interesting, you mentioned Back to the Future, and I think, oh my gosh, if they announced they were going to remake Back to the Future, I would be up in arms.
Yeah.
But then if I found out, but we're going to gender swap, all the male characters are going to be females, and I'll be like, oh, that's quite interesting, actually. Like, that as a concept, that makes sense why they would make that film. So for me, the reason that it is 4 women is the reason you remake Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
You know, that's, as an experiment, is something that I was quite excited when I heard about that.
Yeah.
But then the backlash of, I guess, a small group of people.
In the echo chamber of the internet. And
it's just been baffling. I don't know if you've seen the hate that Leslie Jones has been facing, and she's been called all sorts of atrocious things.
Well, you know that I have to call them they because I don't know where they are, and our listeners can't see my doing the inverted commas thing with my fingers, but somebody set up a fake Twitter account, didn't they, purporting to be Leslie Jones, and then started saying appalling things, politically appalling things. And so over the last couple of weeks, I remember reading the article where actually she tearfully had to say, I'm coming off social media, because she was getting death threats and abuse and being misrepresented by this fake Twitter account. And she utterly baffled. And I'm baffled as to why her. I don't know, is it a black thing?
I think it is.
Probably, yeah.
And maybe because she's a bit more... Well, no, Kate McKinnon's unknown as well. I mean, they're in SNL, Saturday Night Live.
She's not a total nobody.
No.
But also, there was a black guy in the original Ghostbusters.
Who does nothing.
Yes, but at least there was a black guy, so it's not even like that anyone's going, there was no black person in the original Ghostbusters or anything. I just don't get it at all. But you're absolutely right. The hate has been unfreaking believable, and I just don't understand it at all.
I mean, part of this is it's hard to grasp how broad an audience blockbusters have, I think, and when you start to see this kind of hate, it's really because blockbusters just hit such a broad field of demographics, I think, and there's tend to be some extremists within that, you know. When you've got that bigger field, then there are going to be some extremists.
Yeah. So I had a look on IMDb. The film, when it first came out, was getting a 3 out of 10 before it really was released. So there was an active movement to try and...
Yes, I heard it was getting 0s and 1s.
Yeah,
just because.
So it raised to like 4, and then I was watching it, and it's 5.6 or something now. And it's getting 75% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
So critically, it's getting pretty good results.
Yeah.
I mean, on IMDb, it's not. I looked at the demographic of the voting. Men, on average, give the film a 4. Women, on average, give the film an 8.
Wow.
For most blockbusters, it's pretty much the same. Guys and girls both give it around about a 7. You look at the actual breakdown of what people are giving it, mostly 1s and mostly 10s. More 1s than 10s.
Right.
So people either vote...
That's some great investigation there, Jeremy.
Yeah.
Let's bring you some actual facts
to...
I was just trying to figure out what the hell was going on. The other thing is, a friend of mine, good friends of mine, I was talking to them last night about this whole topic, sent me an article that was all about how the way they've reported about the box office takings of Ghostbusters have been like bombs in second week, complete failure. And if you look at the percentage of it, it's actually doing better based on its budget than the new Star Trek film.
Right.
Like it only dropped 30% in the second week, whereas the new Star Trek film dropped 36%.
Right.
And just the whole narrative around the
because
film.
bombs in second week sounds terrible to people who don't know that actually that still could mean they did an extraordinary opening weekend, which of course we understand
every horror movie ever made.
Absolutely, and that's what everybody wants, is a strong opening weekend. So interesting what you've discovered, Jeremy, in terms of the chaps are giving it 1 and women are giving it 10, because if I'm perfectly honest, there is no way the new Ghostbusters was a 5-star film for me, no way at all. And neither was it a 1-star film. And so it rather indicates, I fear, that the people giving it 1 were obviously doing it just as a knee-jerk reaction, haven't even seen it, don't even care, we're going to hate it regardless. And that possibly then there's the overcompensating of, we want to support the film. Yeah. And I desperately wanted this film to be terrific. And I'd read, I think, Peter Bradshaw's review in The Guardian. I think he gave it 4 out of 5, and I was really like, wow, maybe this is going to be super fun. I love the people who are in it. I have no beef with anybody. don't care that it's a remake, etc., etc. Found the trailer quite amusing, and actually came out really underwhelmed. And it's not the fault of the women.
No.
It's not the fault of Chris Hemsworth, who can do no wrong, because actually he's terrific in it. So for me, actually, it's issues of writing and issues of pacing.
The story is pretty...
And story.
Yeah.
And so, unfortunately, to me, and we'll see what you all think, it's not a great film. So it's a little bit harder to defend, but it is not difficult to defend it against accusations of it's being rubbish because it's got chicks in it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, like the zeros and tens thing, going back to what you were talking about, Max, just the radicalisation of pop culture is getting ridiculous. Anything that comes out is either the greatest thing ever, like big things. No, not like indie things, not so much. No. But if we're talking about big books, music, TV, movies, video games, it's either the greatest thing since sliced bread or like horrible trash. Yeah. Let's just dump all our negative feelings onto it.
The superlatives,
Ghostbusters 2 style.
The superlatives that get thrown around these days are crazier than ever.
Yeah.
No, that's a joke.
See what we did there.
But no, it actually does kind of feel like that.
Yeah.
You know?
Rotten Tomatoes, which, I usually take with a grain of salt. Do you guys remember when Dark Knight, which one was it? Dark Knight Rises came out.
The third one.
The third one. And Rotten Tomatoes ended up removing its comment section from user reviews because people were giving the first couple of rotten reviewers like death threats straight out of the gate.
Oh, really?
Like, you should kill yourself. You have no idea what you're talking about.
Right.
I'm like, dude, this movie it's a month before release.
Yeah.
And you haven't seen the movie, and... Yeah,
right.
Everything. People have such strong sentimental connections to these characters now, and to nostalgia, to childhood stuff.
I think a lot of it could be connected to the fact that pop culture is getting increasingly focused on the moment. Like we're so focused on right now, and that's like done through advertising and through films. It's so good at making you feel like this is it. Happening right now, this is it, and then 2 days later, it's completely forgotten. Technology. This is the technology that's going to change everything, or something like that. Like that's a consumerist, like in terms of selling products. That's your one of your key imperatives, and I think that's infiltrated the culture.
Opening weekend, isn't it? The opening weekend is everything.
Yeah.
And then when a film has a slow burn, it's really quite surprising. I always love hearing about films that have actually done really well, but you haven't really expected it. Like I think, I remember Gravity when I was working in the cinema when that was out. That went on for like 6 months. It was in the cinema. Or Peter Jackson's King Kong ended up being a really successful film, but it took a long time. And it just kept on making money.
Frozen as well. It just never stopped making money.
Yeah.
But Gravity will have been a big word of mouth thing, wouldn't it? Because I suppose on paper it's two characters, and it's all in space, and people might have thought.
And also, it's a film you had to see at the cinema.
Right.
It was such a cinematic experience. Slumdog Millionaire was another big one.
Right.
That was a huge success.
Yeah.
But opening weekend is the only language that the big blockbuster cinema industry really understands. It's interesting in the film, the new Ghostbusters film, there is that moment where they're like, read the comments that we're getting. And, no bitch should be catching ghosts.
No bitch is going to catch no ghosts.
Oh no, not that one,
Yeah, that's right. And then Melissa McCarthy's character says something like, don't you know, you shouldn't be reading the comments that people have written in the middle of the night on the internet, or something like that. And of course, that's because they were making the film. I mean, the uproar, the furore had already started, hadn't it, while they were still making the film.
Yeah.
So it's actually really interesting that the film itself is able to comment on the comment that's happening about the film while it's being created.
Yeah.
I mean, that isn't even credit cookie stuff that they could have packed in at the end, If you didn't like it, go stuff yourself or anything like that. Not at all. And so actually, watching the film with the full knowledge of all the hate that the film had been getting, going in with these expectations and this inherent feeling of support for whatever I was about to see, those little comments were very gratifying because they did feel like a really mild-mannered, polite, shaking of the fist at everything that they had to put up with.
Well, more overtly, you've got a villain in the film who pretty much fits the profile
Oh,
of
yes.
the type of people that, well, I think anyway, that we're
That's
describing.
true.
Yeah.
You've got this sort of downtrodden nerd that's never really been appreciated.
That's
which
true. Who
I'm
everyone
not saying,
thinks is weird, who's all kind of like,
and I guess it's a
alone.
stereotype to put that profile onto these people that are making these sexist comments.
It's
But,
probably more
you know,
likely to be jocks, to be fair.
well,
Oh, I think
White
no,
male jokes, don't you
no.
think?
This is Gamergate territory.
It is.
Oh,
Over
yeah,
again,
true.
and we don't
Yeah.
have enough podcast minutes for that
Yeah.
stuff. But that's what this
Yeah,
feels
true.
like.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah, and Paul Feig himself has said that was intentional. He was supposed to be representative of this sort of, I hate the term, but beta male sense of like injustice,
Yeah.
and
Right.
wanting to fight back against the system.
So
Yeah.
how interesting then. I mean, honestly, there are university papers ready to be written here, I think, about the
Yeah.
meta-ness of
Yeah,
Ghostbusters being created to address the very kickback or whatever that it then
It already knows
that it
it's
was
going to be
already
getting.
getting, and that it went on to get.
I totally agree. I mean, my experience of the film is that the four main actors, Kristen Wiig is my favourite Saturday Night Live performer. I watch that show when it's on every week for the last couple of years. I rewatch her YouTube clips just continuously and share it with friends. I find her one of the funniest people on the planet.
And can I just say, her interactions, being the Bill Murray, if you will, her interactions with Chris Hemsworth were really terrific.
Oh,
and they were some of the
wow.
best acting and some of the
Yeah.
most natural timing and comment
Yeah.
timing of the film, I do think. So yes, keep going. I think kudos to her.
Love Melissa McCarthy. I love the other two, mainly because they're only on SNL, and I was so excited to see both Leslie Jones and Kate McKinnon get these large roles. And so I was always going to be quite happy just to see the four of them
Yeah.
together on
Yeah.
screen.
Yeah.
You know, having said that though, I think the weakest parts of the film are near the start of the movie, where there's some more of those improvisational moments. They kind of fall flat. More so the first time I watched it than the second time, because the second time I knew exactly what I was in for.
Yeah.
And that I think the best comedy moments are the ones that happened naturally occurred as the action was going on. But I really enjoyed the film. I mean, the first time I saw it, I thought that was pretty good. And then, like I said, after watching the old one and being completely disillusioned by it, and this franchise that was up on a pedestal just by the nature of the way it was discussed wasn't there anymore, I went back and watched the new one and had a really good time. Particularly the final battle in the smoke.
Oh, that's interesting.
With all the things coming out of them and the great weapons popping out, and yeah, I
that's
had a
so
ball.
interesting, because I found that by then I was quite bored.
yeah.
And it felt like just another battle at the end of a movie. We've seen this kind of thing a million times, and so yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. I appreciate. I know Max, you said you didn't like the climax of the original,
Yeah.
but I'm kind of I really like the climax of the original and how different it was. I mean, there was Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, but it wasn't
love
a
that.
huge battle. It was them thinking their way around things, kind of. I mean, a little bit using their brains and cross the streams and all that. And then even
That's right,
so,
was
they're
that,
still
yeah.
full schlubs. They're being thrown around and they're not superheroes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas the new one, oh my gosh, Melissa McCarthy is punching ghosts.
Yeah.
They're using, and it's not ghost busting anymore. They're not garbage collectors. They're soldiers. They're warriors, right?
Yeah.
They're killing ghosts
Wow, yeah.
or destroying them.
Yeah.
And so what was the point of everything else? Because the ghost traps, I mean, they don't. They trap what, one ghost?
And what do they do with it then?
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Well, in the
They hadn't decided yet.
in the post credits, they show that they have a containment unit and stuff.
Right.
But in the big final battle, it felt very, very simplified and Hollywood
Yes.
fied. Where it was like, oh, there's a whole bunch of CG glowing
Yeah,
bad guys in
yeah,
the air.
yeah.
We're gonna blast them out of the sky like Avengers 2, half of all the Marvel movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it just felt very. I felt disconnected and really disappointed.
It did
by
feel a
it.
bit weightless.
Yes. Oh, he's got
What?
the whole-
Talking about CGI, I actually think there was less CGI than you perhaps realise. Obviously, the big heavy metal demon was CGI, but they actually had a lot of the real people dressed as ghosts, and then they just would have
Really?
added effects. Yeah.
Well,
Oh,
I
that's
will say
cute.
the ghost effects for the people looked really cool.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah,
like
so-
the darkness and then almost the neon glow. Like there's a couple of ghosts, the lady who spews up and the ghost flasher. I thought they look pretty.
Are you talking about the new film?
The new film.
I still like the look of them much better in the old one.
In the old one,
personally, just simpler. I think is part of it.
Yeah.
When they just had lots going on with the new ghosts. I like the symbol, just like in the old one, just some big fat blob thing, and he's just running around like lots of character in the face. But
it interests me so much that you feel that way, because back in the day, the special effects in Ghostbusters were like, wow, and there's this danger that you watch it now, and if you don't carry the nostalgic value with you, that you're going to go, that just looks shit, you know. And so
or what a stupid idea,
right?
Big blob thing,
and then it's lovely that you think that actually you like that better. But I bet you, I have no idea, but I bet you they thought there's no way we can do ghosts without them being higher tech, because otherwise we just won't get away with it. Everybody will think it's ludicrous.
Yeah,
maybe.
The library ghost is still horrifying. Oh my god.
Yes.
Original.
Yes.
Yes, she is.
And I feel like the comparison in the new one is because it's both the first ghost that they find.
That's right.
It's the woman from a long time ago, and she spews out violently.
Yeah.
Did you think she was?
I thought she looked really
They did a
good.
shock with her. It was like a shock, and it wasn't scary though.
No.
Well, it all been in the trailer. That was the trailer, so I knew exactly what was going to happen.
Oh, that's true as well.
Yeah.
I was a big fan of the effects. I loved the colours in the whole film. Like I found it was a very colourful film, and I really enjoyed that. All the costumes were well complementing. It felt very cartoon-like, but I don't know. I thought visually it was really interesting.
Yeah.
So
it's interesting that you're not as much of a fan of it.
I mean, this is maybe that whole thing that we started with. That I'm the only one with the nostalgia. Maybe it is just that influence. But I kind of want to go back. I think I do disagree with your point about you felt like the first one doesn't really build up. It kind of just feels like bits and pieces. Whereas I feel like there was real possibility that they were going to fail in the first one. I felt like there was real, like they were doing things so kind of sloppily at the start. Whereas in this one, I didn't feel like maybe I felt like it was a blockbuster, and they were just, of course, they're going to succeed. In the first one, they're like doing it so roughshod, so scrappy. The first time they do it, they just like stuff it up. There's that great scene in the
hotel.
In the hotel,
yeah, I did like that scene.
That's a great scene,
and like it's just so rough. They don't know what they're doing with their guns, and they do the same thing, of course, in
the alleyway, in the
Ghostbusters
second
2016, in the
That's
alleyway
right.
with Melissa McCarthy. But it's so much more comedic. I think it's not like I don't know. The comedy is just more slapstick. I don't know.
Interestingly, the conflict for them in the latest film, of course, is not that the technology doesn't work or that they can't use it, because these four women are actually quite onto it, aren't they? They're very accomplished.
Yeah.
Nobody messes up. Nobody runs away in fear. It's more the institutional conflict, isn't it? It's Andy Garcia and is he the mayor? I guess he's the mayor. Right. It's Andy Garcia, and it's the politics of people saying, we don't want you here. You have to. We're going to make out like you're incompetent or that you weren't able to or whatever. So,
although that is so interesting, because one of the things I found just odd about the 2016 Ghostbusters is how kind of compliant the Ghostbusters were to the needs of the government. Whereas the old one, literally the EPA was one of the villains, and it was the EPA and what's his name?
What's an EPA?
Oh, the Environmental Protection Agency.
Right,
yes.
right, yeah.
The guy coming, this man has no penis, kind of.
That's
guy.
right.
And he's the guy that causes the big calamity that happens at the end. With the new one, there's Cecily Strong and Andy Garcia, and I really like them both, and they're really funny. But anything they say in the Ghostbusters is like, oh, okay, and we'll be discredited, and
I think there's something of a softly approach about this film, the 2016, that I think is maybe them kind of going politically. What we've got is already a supercharged issue, and we can't do anything. Like everything else has to be very softly, and like that, the whole thing feels relatively light. The girls are so. Like the way that they deal with the issues is really nice, because it's like kill them with kindness kind of thing. It's like you cannot disagree with these women who are just so friendly about it. They're not going, oh God, we've been downtrodden by these men the whole time. They're like, they're just like, stuff it, we're going to do it. You know?
Yeah. That's so interesting, isn't it? And it's so interesting to think. I noticed, of course, that it's written by Paul what are we calling him? Paul
Feig.
Feig.
And Feig. And
Paul Feig.
Paul
and a woman, Katie someone or other.
Yeah.
Did you catch the name of the
It is a
co-writer?
woman, yeah.
And it's interesting, isn't it, the choices that they made, and also you can guarantee that with these 4 women being sort of writers in their own right as well, there will have been a lot of thought as to how we're going to personify this particular strain of Ghostbusters and these women. Yeah. And you're right, they're not ballbusters.
No.
They don't use the F word, feminism, throughout the whole thing. They don't. I don't think, apart from Kate McKinnon, I don't think that they overcompensate. They don't try to be too male either. No. All the other 3 women dress like strong women. They don't. They don't dress like girly girls. They don't try and dress like blokes. I think Holtzman is interesting because she is this amalgam of Dan Aykroyd with the cigarette hanging out of her mouth as she's kind of going down the corridors in the hotel or whatever the building is, and she's kind of just the crazy laid back.
She's the kooky. She's the kooky mad scientist.
Right.
She's also the Harold Ramis.
She is. She is a mix of those 2 roles. I think.
The weirdo. Yeah,
that's right. The weirdo, and yet thankfully she's not the manic pixie dream girl either. She's just kind of an asexual kind of crazy person.
She's amazing. She was my favorite character in the whole thing. Like at the beginning, I did not like her character.
Yeah, I agree.
It was very, very. I thought it was forced.
Yeah,
but then as the movie went along, like everything she did, that was when I laughed, and very.
She's
very
been
good.
getting huge plaudits.
Oh yeah.
See, for me, I thought the 4 main characters, they all had really clear parameters and motivations. Which, just as a side note, there wasn't the same strength of character in the old film. But I thought that I loved, for instance, that you had this great struggle between Kristen Wiig's character, who all she really cared about was people believing that she saw ghosts. She was motivated by the public perception. Yeah. You had the Melissa McCarthy character, who they had childhood friends. She's just sort of parroting to her, "Come on, who cares what the heck people think? Let's just work. Let's just be able to function and work."
Yeah.
And I guess in response to that kind of the government line, that tension was very much in that, and that Kristen Wiig was like, "No, we don't want to be discredited. The whole thing is that we're getting known for this." And then Melissa McCarthy's like, "Just
who cares?
work. Who cares?
Let's just do it.
Let's just keep doing it."
Yeah.
You've got Patty's character, Leslie Jones's character, who I was really not that concerned, because Leslie Jones is a very fantastic, intelligent comedian. I was concerned that she was going to be the plucky black comic relief, the sassy black woman. But she has a really useful part to play. She has this great knowledge of the city, and she's a very useful character to have around.
Yeah, there have been criticisms of that still, though, haven't there? That
she's
why
the
couldn't
blue
she?
collar.
Why couldn't she be the scientist?
Yeah.
Why couldn't she be a scientist? Why does a black woman have to be the woman who works in the train station?
I mean, I wonder as well if I feel like this film is like we're criticising it as we do with all the films we talk about, but it's so heavily criticised. Every single representation of these women, men don't get that same treatment.
Yeah,
very good point.
This film has become the lightning rod of feminine films, females in film, and it's only one. It's the only thing, one of its kind that's happened.
But I mean, maybe that's obviously it's not a good thing, but in terms of their role, maybe they can be taken as honourable in the sense that they are doing the breaking of the glass ceiling, and once it's done, maybe that a lot of that energy is dissipated, and so there's more space for it to happen more naturally.
To be fair, I don't think this film. I thought Bridesmaids was supposed to be the glass ceiling breaker. To be fair, I thought that was sort of went down in history as the first film where the women were how do I put it? The women were, top billing. They were the primary characters. They were the ones swearing, doing the scatological humour.
So you think more of the reason that this is, what's the word, problematic for people is because they're doing Ghostbusters,
the remake,
the reboot.
Yeah, I think that. I haven't read up as much as you must have, Jeremy. But my sense of the fanboyism, and it is more fanboys. I haven't heard of any fangirls hating on Ghostbusters in 2016. Is more you're taking my childhood dream and you're messing with it.
Yeah.
I don't think it's.
Can we?
I mean, two things. First thing is, I reckon that the backlash is because actually it's reaching a large audience, and that perhaps the guys that
compared to
Bridesmaids, you know, the people that it's like what was it, Brokeback Mountain, you know, it was like this film for gay cinema when really there's been lots of gay films going on for a long time, but it reached a different audience. So there's that. Interestingly, I was watching a clip of Conan or Conan O'Brien, I mean, not the Arnold Schwarzenegger film. Conan O'Brien or Jimmy Kimmel or Jimmy Fallon with Leslie Jones, and how they were talking about this hate that she'd received. And then he'd compiled a whole lot of support from Ghostbuster fans who said, you know, Leslie Jones, you know, you've proved that a girl can be a Ghostbuster. You're a Ghostbuster to me. And there's lots of clips of little girls dressed up as Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
And I was talking about, again, these friends I mentioned last night, good friends of mine, were talking about this, how part of this backlash, the fanboys, you're ruining my childhood. That the reality is, this film is not for them, and yet it's part of their childhood, and that is a really kind of tough pill to swallow.
That's what I was just going to ask. Do you think it was a good idea?
But wait.
Do you think if you like so?
Yeah, but why
it's
not?
not a holy grail.
What is the?
Yeah,
no,
why
it's not.
do you think it was a good idea?
Wait. But the film is for Ghostbusters fans. That's the thing.
Yeah.
There's so many bloody callbacks that it got really annoying by the end.
And everyone apart from Rick Moranis, say.
Yes, exactly.
But
the plot points. It's maybe spoilers, maybe a little bit, but it's almost beat for beat the same.
Yeah.
They have the same big thing at the end. They have the same putting the team together. They're missing a montage, which was really disappointing.
Is it though?
Because the montage is the best part of the original Ghostbusters.
So okay, compare. There you go.
But I was going to say, and as we've already mentioned, there's Kate McKinnon with the Dan Aykroyd fag out of her mouth. There's the levitation, even the tiny bit of Melissa. Oh, this is spoilers. Sorry.
That's in the trailer.
Tiny bit of Melissa McCarthy's possession and levitation. There's what I hadn't realised until I rewatched the old one afterwards is the fact that the old Ghostbusters were in that fire station building, right?
Yeah.
And that's when the girls rock up there in 2016, and the New York real estate agent says it's $2,100 a month, and they're get out of town, and so they have to go somewhere else until the end, which I thought, this is what I mean when I said earlier, it's so respectful, and it is. There are so many nods to the original.
Yeah. I was wondering why they didn't just flat out make it a sequel. I mean, with just a couple writing changes, it's there. You know, you have the cameos as the original characters, and boom.
Yeah, I mean, but would that change that much?
Oh no, I don't think so.
I guess what I want to say is, we're talking briefly about it before we started recording. It's like this has come out at the same time as the new Star Trek film, which I've always sort of seen these as comparative films because Star Trek, it's the third in a reboot series. It's sort of got the similar audience, and yet the same scrutiny just isn't there. And I really do feel that the fact that there are 4 women in this role has brought in a whole level of criticism of this film.
Yeah,
of course.
That it would not have got.
Yeah.
And I think that it's beyond people feeling like their childhood is being destroyed. I mean, look at the flippin' Star Wars films. Those prequels are awful. The new one comes out, it's pretty much beat for beat the same as the old one.
That's
and
right.
It's brilliant, and everybody loves it. And the fans love it.
And, I mean, you've got a female character as the main character, but the ratio of male and females is the same.
Oh, boy.
No, didn't she?
She's a Mary Sue and all that stuff.
I think it's sexism.
Directors
I really
coming
do.
out.
I think it's institutionalised.
Agreed.
You know?
So yeah, Jeremy, like all the nostalgia mining recently, Aliens remakes, Predator stuff. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Platinum Dunes making all those cheaper remakes, Friday the 13th. None of them have gone the hate that Ghostbusters are, and they are terrible.
So here's my big question, and I've been ruminating on this. Would I have found yesterday's film funnier if it had had 4 of my favourite contemporary male actors in it? If it had had Seth Rogen and maybe Paul Rudd and other members of the Apatow/Feig clan? And I don't think so, because I think that the writing is what, for me, the writing and the plot and the pacing, actually. I thought that the pacing was very strange. And if I was now transposing Chaps back into it, I would have thought it was a total waste of time.
Fair point, and so I totally think that my positive response, is totally down to that personal taste and connection with the actors.
Yeah.
But I do feel that if it had been made with all those male actors, it wouldn't have got anywhere near as the amount of attention.
It wouldn't have got any slack at all.
No.
Well, no, it might have got slack as in why are you bothering to remake it? Is it going to be shit?
Yeah.
But it certainly wouldn't have got this really pernicious slack about it before it was even off the blocks, you know?
So there we go. Ghostbusters 1984 and 2016. Go have a watch. Go have a look. Feel free to message us on our Facebook page if you've got any thoughts or responses to what you've heard today. Thank you so much for listening. Check us out again in a month's time as we discuss cinema in context, the connections between films, and everything else in between. Ka kite aroha.